Hello, this is Books of the Stock Market. How's everyone doing? I just came back from my run and the roads are mostly clear from snow. However, there are a lot of areas with black ice because the snow melts during the day, but it is still freezing overnight. Other than that, not much has changed, but I'm excited for the Christmas break coming up and getting away from this 9 to 5 grind. With that out of the way, let's talk about today's topic. Today we will be talking about moving averages. This video is part 1 of a 2-part series on moving averages. This video will introduce the different types of moving averages and how to use different lengths of moving averages together. Let's first introduce what a moving average is and what it is used for. The moving and moving average represents the amount of days used in the average. The average and moving average represents the average of prices of days in question. Moving averages are used to see when the trend changes, and moving averages can act as a trend line that curves, but it is not a leading indicator as it only reacts to the previous day's price. As mentioned, moving averages are not leading indicators. Since they are not leading indicators, there is a lag. Fortunately, you can control this lag depending on your situation. For instance, for a short-term trade, you can shorten the amount of days in the average to produce less lags, but it gives more false signals. On the other hand, you can lengthen the amount of days in the average to produce more lag, but it gives less false signals. Now, let's move on to what type of price do the moving averages use. Well, it depends on what you want to use. Most people use the closing price, but for some people, they use the midpoint between the high and the low of the day. Others use the average of the high, the low, and the closing prices. Until now, we have introduced how moving averages work. Let's move on to how to read moving averages. When prices move above the moving average, then it is considered to be a buy signal, or at least the price action is bullish. When price moves below the moving average, then it is considered to be a sell signal, or at least the price action is bearish. Another signal is when the moving average curves toward the direction of the price. This signal can be used to be a buy or a sell signal. Now that we know how to read moving averages, let's look at the different types of moving averages. The simple moving average is the most basic moving average. You can adjust the moving average to have any amount of days from 200 to 5 days. However, there are some drawbacks. The simple moving average only covers the period that average is taken into account for. This means that it only takes into account the X amount of days in the moving average. Also, the simple moving average equals the weights of all days. For instance, should the latest price have the same weight as the first day's price? Here we have an example of the simple moving average on the IWM, which tracks the Russell 2000. The IWM has been climbing straight up for almost a whole month, so let's do some technical analysis. To put this indicator, you press this button and type simple moving average. You then get this box, and this shows up. Here, you can click any amount of moving averages. Also, you can adjust how many days are in your moving average. Now that we have the settings in place, let's analyze this graph. Here we see the times when price moved below the moving average and it resulted in the stock selling off. Here we see the times when price moved above the moving average and it resulted in the stock going up. These are the times when the moving average acted as support, and these are the times when the moving average acted as resistance. As you can see, moving averages can be used in many ways. The next moving average is called a linearly weighted moving average. This solves the problem where every day is weighted the same. It solves this problem because it is a weighted moving average. Since it is a linearly weighted moving average, it weighs the 10th day's price by multiplying it by 10, the 9th day's price by multiplying it by 9, and so on. Let's compare the difference between the linearly weighted moving average and the simple moving average. Here we see the linearly weighted moving average. This is the simple moving average. As you can see, the linearly weighted moving average provides a better fit in this case, but it is all situational and there is no proof that a linearly weighted moving average works better. Another weighted moving average is called the exponential moving average. The green line represents the exponential moving average, the black line represents the simple moving average, and the purple line represents the linearly weighted moving average. Once again, there's no definite proof that one moving average works better than the other, since it all depends on the situation. Now, let's move on to the differences between the short-term and long-term moving averages. The less days you put into a moving average, the faster they react to price. However, it creates more false signals. On the other hand, the more days you put into a moving average, they react slower to price, but they create less false signals. So which one do we use? The solution is to use both. When using two moving averages, usually one short-term moving average and one long-term moving average is used. The buy signal will be when the shorter-term moving average crosses above the longer-term moving average. The sell signal will be when the shorter-term moving average crosses below the longer-term moving average. Here we have the two moving averages on the IWM. The purple line represents the 6-day simple moving average, and the orange line represents the 20-day simple moving average. These are the times when the shorter-term moving average crossed above the longer-term moving average, causing price to rise. These are the times when the shorter-term moving average crossed below the longer-term moving average, causing price to fall. If you want to take this a step further, we can use the three moving averages together. The 4, 9, 18-day moving averages and the 5, 10, 20-day moving averages are used most often. In an uptrend, the 4 or 5 moving average should be above the 9 or 10 moving average, and both should be above the 18 or 20 moving day average. In a downtrend, the 4 or 5 moving average should be below the 9 or 10 moving average. In this case, both should be below the 18 or 20-day moving average. Let's now look at how to read three moving averages. A buy signal will be when the 4 or 5 moving average crosses above the 9 or 10 and the 19 or 20 moving average. If you want to play it more safe, a confirmed buy signal will be when the 9 or 10 moving average crosses above the 18 or 20 moving average. A sell signal will be when the 4 or 5 moving average crosses below the 9 or 10 and the 18 or 20 moving average. Once again, if you want to play it more safe, you should wait for the 9 or 10 moving average to cross below the 18 or 20 moving average. Let's now apply what we learned to the IWM. The blue line represents the 4-day exponential moving average, the green line represents the 9-day exponential moving average, and the red line represents the 20-day exponential moving average. Let's zoom into this area. Here we see the 4-day moving average move above the 9-day moving average. We then see the 4-day moving average move above the 20-day moving average. At this point, this would be our buy signal. Our confirmed buy signal will be when the 9-day moving average crosses above the 20-day moving average. Let's now zoom into this area. Here we see the 4-day moving average move below the 9-day moving average. It then went below the 20-day moving average. At this point, this will be our sell signal. The sell signal was confirmed when the 9-day moving average went below the 20-day moving average. Let's now zoom into this area. This area will show you what can happen when you're not patient for the moving averages to cross the necessary targets. Here, we see the 4-day moving average cross above the 9-day moving average. However, the 4-day moving average fails to cross the 20-day moving average. This causes the downtrend to still be intact. Well, that's it for this video. I hope everyone learned as much as I did reading a book, as that is the whole point of this channel. In this video, I introduced moving averages and how to use them. The next video will continue to talk about moving averages and other complex topics. So if you don't want to miss out on those topics, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video and felt like you learned something new, like this video as it really supports the channel. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll try my best to answer all the questions. Well, this is Books of the Stock Market, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Thanks.